Hello, human peoples. You're listening to the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. To support us and gain access to great exclusive podcasts like Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Star Trek The Next Futurama, and our latest show, Spiel Boys, head over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. We do game streaming, movie nights with our patrons every Friday night, and you can even commission your own podcast about anything you want. Literally anything, within reason, and we have to do it. You are quite frankly out of excuses not to go visit patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds. I do like the bleakness, but...
I love the bleakness. Hi, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
My name is David Bell.
My name is Tom Ryman.
And we just watched Bustin' Loose.
Bustin'.
Why is it called this?
I have no idea.
Richard Pryor is Joe Braxton. He's an ex-con.
You know what I was in prison for, Chuck?
What?
Murder.
With a mean parole officer.
I'm gonna burn your butt on this one, man.
Braxton's bad.
Stop the bus!
Shut up.
Gee, stop the bus!
I don't like your attitude.
So what? I mean, he's really bad. And he's busting loose.
I think that was the biggest offer of the film that I wrestled with the most.
Yeah.
That was the message that I chewed on the most was what the hell does that title mean?
Yeah. Before we get started, big thank you to the Wells Fargo wagon is a plunging off a cliff from the Music Man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us watch the 1981 Richard Pryor film Bustin' Loose.
Bustin' Loose.
It's I think I was talking to you before we watched it where I knew nothing about it, and it's like the title is Bustin' Loose. The official poster
with an
is
apostrophe. That's very important that it's bustin' loose, not busting.
Yes.
Because that implies fun and frivolity.
Yes. And then the poster's Richard Pryor in front of the KKK looking scared. And it says he's mad, he's bad, and he's bustin' loose. And then like a later poster is Richard Pryor in a school bus, which clearly is a correction where they're like, it's not really about...
That's a little closer to what the film is about. Yeah.
I guess bustin' loose implies he's on parole and this is his way of like bustin' loose from his life of crime.
Yeah, he does. That's his arc, right? Is he learns it's like nobody ever told me I was worth anything. Like, you know, he realizes he can be better than he was. So yeah, I guess that's part of it. But boy, is that like when compared to like the rest of the movies in Richard Pryor's filmography, like movies with similar titles are much wackier.
Yes.
This is a bizarrely real film.
Yeah, I want to talk about
It's like
that.
if the Bad News Bears got real as shit halfway through.
That's what I wrote too. I was like, it's somehow darker Bad News Bears.
Yeah. It's Bad News Bears if it decided to stop being funny halfway through.
Yeah, it's... Okay, so are you a big Richard Pryor fan?
Not a big Richard Pryor fan. Weirdly... I was more of a fan of his when I was younger. Like that's like I saw more of his movies when I was younger. Like all the stuff he did with Gene Wilder and like The Toy.
Same.
I didn't see a lot of his R-rated stuff, obviously, when I was younger. But I saw it, and then like I got into his comedy, like residually from Eddie Murphy, because Eddie Murphy talking about being inspired by Richard Pryor. It's in one of the specials he does his Richard Pryor impression, like when he's talking about how. When he was trying to be a comedian at 6, the only thing he could talk about was taking a dump, and the only comedian he knew was Richard Pryor. So he does this routine of 6-year-old Eddie Murphy talking about taking a dump, but it's as Richard Pryor. Anyway,
that's amazing.
So that was like that. I don't know. I think we had a Richard Pryor tape. We got a lot of stand-up comedy tapes, even like real R-rated ones. Like for some reason, my parents didn't care that much about that. So I think we had like one Richard Pryor tape.
Yeah, I remember there was a Comedy Central special about his life, like a biography that had his stand-up. I remember watching that a bunch.
I knew that a lot. Yeah, I knew that one a lot. And Live on the Sunset Strip I'd seen.
Right, and as a kid, I knew him as that guy who did movies with Gene Wilder.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Yeah. Hear No Evil, Speak No
so-
Evil, or whatever. That's like the main one. Silver Streak, I think. Is that another one?
Sounds like one. But yeah, I wasn't never a huge fan of Richard Pryor, so I didn't really know what this was going to be and if this is like normal for his films.
I'm not sure, honestly, because like I've said, it was like I've only really seen the movies of his where his image is being softened a bit for the kids,
Right.
I guess.
This was, by the way, I believe, shot both before and after the incident where he lit on fire.
I think that's why they reference it in there.
Yeah, several times. They reference him being lit on fire several times. So, that's interesting.
There's a part where point blank Cecily Tyson says, "You're going to set yourself on fire."
Yeah, exactly. I classify this in an era.
The stuff I've seen of his is more like way more comedic. Like this is clearly a dramedy, but it starts out like way more of a Richard Pryor.
It gets wacky in the department store. There's wackiness there.
Yeah.
It just reminded me of something like Stripes, a movie that I've seen a lot.
Yes.
Where it's that era of like 70s to 80s comedy where everything is kind of unrefined, where it's like the editing is weird, there's no music, like there's these weird like wipes in and out of scenes. The pacing is off where like scenes will just kind of end, and they're kind of riding on the main character is charming, like he's just a funny guy, you know what I mean, where it's
right, because there's not even that many jokes in it. It's way more on Pryor's delivery.
Yeah,
and just sort of how he behaves in this. Yeah, like he can carry each scene he's in effortlessly, and he says he makes lines into jokes just by saying them. Like one of the biggest laughs I got with this movie was when he says, "Did you hear what I said?" Like when he's talking about fixing the van or the bus. He's like, it's completely routed through. That thing's never going to run. And then she's like, "Okay, well, we got to get there next Friday."
Yeah,
and just the way that he delivered it is just perfectly fucking funny. On the paper, it's nothing.
Right, he's a Bill Murray type where it's on the paper.
He's a Richard Pryor type, but
yeah. They. I mean, it's that era where it's like a lot of it is just how you say it is funny, and it's just people. It feels like people getting together, just having a good time and being generally fun. And for me, it's funny because you're talking about the two halves. I didn't really like this movie much in the first half, and then I liked it way more in the second.
So did I.
When it gets more serious.
I liked it more when it got more serious, especially with the Annie character. Because when Cecily Tyson is going... So the premise of this movie is Richard Pryor plays this guy named Joe Braxton, who his parole officer... is this like weird creep? Basically is having him help his girlfriend drive these orphans across country to Washington State on a farm, basically because he wants to discourage her from doing it because it's illegal. Like she's kidnapping the kids.
She's kidnapping. It's about kidnapping children.
Yes.
It's the girlfriend has... It's
about kidnapping children that the system doesn't care about.
Yeah, it's like special needs, broadly speaking, kids, which when I first heard that, I was like, oh, I hope this movie doesn't get fucking...
There was a couple of... that's what I was getting towards. There's a couple of times. So anyway, he has to drive this bus of orphans, and he connects with the orphans, and you guys can see where that's going. But Cecily Tyson is introducing or just kind of going through all of the various, like, how all the needs of these kids, and then she lands on Annie. She's like, and one of them was forced into prostitution at age 9 in Vietnam. And I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah, I was like, fucking what?
No. Dude, please don't.
Can we not?
Please don't do that joke.
Yeah, just make
they
her
do
deaf. Yeah, where she hits on Richard Pryor. And you're like, well, that's not what sexual trauma like.
That's not what sexual trauma looks like at all.
And he has to heroically say he doesn't want to have sex with her.
Yeah. I was going to say... at least they addressed that. Like, at least
Yes.
they addressed it by having him blunder his way through it. He lands on the correct thing eventually. He's like, well, those men were wrong. They were wrong.
Yeah, I actually like that
And
scene.
I do like that scene because it's also with the pyromaniac. Well, that's an insensitive thing to say about that kid, but he's a kid that starts fires. Both of those scenes are like, he gets to it and it's like this like real moment of acting from Richard Pryor where he's like, I'm not a social worker. I'm not.
Yeah,
like, I don't understand what's happening with these kids. I can't, like, I'm fucking up speaking to him. Like, I'm saying the wrong thing. I don't know what's going on here. Like,
yeah,
you
it's
can't-
so good.
Like, I can't, like, I just, like, he keeps saying I drive the bus and it's funny. Because
Right.
she's asking him to do extra things to help. And he's just, because you guys know the story. He starts out as a guy that's just out for himself.
It's for reference. This is a tradition of comedy that I feel like are slowly going away. It is a scumbag gets in over his head, gets asked to do something ridiculous, and then grows and bonds along the way. School of Rock, Stripes, I would count. Adam Sandler films early are often that. Oh, he's becoming a golfer. Oh, he actually gets really into it. Oh, he's going to go back to school. Oh, he bonds with the kids.
Yeah, pushing back a little bit on, because I think part of the problem why we don't see these movies as much anymore is I think we don't like to make scumbags. Pushing back gently on School of Rock, because I think that's as scummy as we'll allow these characters to get in mainstream movies.
But he's part of the pattern.
He is definitely part of the pattern. It's just interesting to compare Jack Black in that movie to Richard Pryor in this movie, where it's like Richard Pryor he does not care about these kids. Like, he's he is a genuine scumbag in the beginning, even though he's funny and charming.
That's like this era.
Yeah, it was this era, and we started softening them too much. So it's like now I don't know that.
I think we need to split the difference.
My point was it was just a scumbag, quote unquote, has just been softened so much. It feels like where it's now. It's just kind of like My Spy. Oh, he's grumpy.
Yeah, exactly.
He's very serious.
We have to split the difference, I think, because I think
right.
that this era is even Stripes, which I love, feels scummy. It feels
Bill Murray's
scummy and
he
too
sucks
real.
in that movie.
Yeah, when it's like beginning at them at their shitty apartment and they're like, let's join the army, and they're depressed. I'm like, this feels too real, actually.
It feels too real.
And same with this, where it's like it starts in Philly and it's just like everywhere looks like the back of a building. It's just like really everything's just trash and grimy. And Richard Pryor is this kind of, he's pulling this like sad heist.
It's a pretty good heist.
Yeah.
He just won't leave.
Yeah.
Like, he just keeps pushing his luck. I laughed really hard.
His partner is like way too nervous.
Did you notice who his partner is?
Is that
It's hard to tell because he's really young, but
shit, I forgot his name.
I'm you're probably gonna pull it.
Oh,
He was on Chappelle's show.
Yeah, it's Mooney,
It's
right?
Mooney. Yeah, it's Paul Mooney.
Yeah, Paul Mooney. That's it. Because there's two Moonies now, and I was like, which Mooney is it?
Oh, right. Yeah, it's Paul Mooney.
Yeah.
It took me a second. I was like, I know who is that? Who is that? Paul
Yeah,
Mooney.
I sat there going like, where the fuck do I know him from? Yeah, Paul Mooney they're both going the wrong way. He's playing it too cool, but he's kind of getting away with it. And then Paul Mooney's like, we have to go. And he's being too sketchy, and then he fucking bails.
Yeah, and all the TVs fall out of the back of the van.
Right. And then, like you said, his parole officers, I think the idea is they're kind of buddies, but it doesn't come across because he goes to the judge and he's like, I want to go back to prison. God, send me back to prison. Please, please, please. This parole officer is hell. And then
He's
the
racist.
judge gives
He's
him,
racist, yeah.
Yeah, and the judge gives him parole, and then the reveal is like, that's what he wanted.
Yeah.
And him and the parole officer
It's a
have like
Bugs Bunny
chuckle.
thing.
Yeah. They have like a chuckle, and so the implication is like they're kind of not buddies, but they're like...
They have a bit of a chuckle, but it's never friendly. Like Donald, his parole officer, it's like it's clear that... I got the vibe anyway that it's like he tolerates Richard Pryor to an extent, but he doesn't like him.
Oh yeah, I mean he becomes the villain of the movie, but
Sort
they
of,
do.
yeah.
I think they're trying to give them a realistic arc at the end when he says, like, get out of here.
Yeah, it's they do a good job of, you don't like Donald because he's not a good guy, but he is trying to do the correct thing so that everybody doesn't go to prison.
Yeah, the movie is weirdly an exploration of what it means to be reformed.
Yes,
because it's about
also about trusting kids to the system is anyway.
Yeah, he's busting loose from the cycle of incarceration. Is what the idea is, that this asshole parole officer who wants to be punitive in the end realizes this is he will be reformed. Like, it doesn't matter if he got punished, quote unquote, appropriately. If he does this, he will not be a repeat offender.
There's a moment where it's at the very end where he's confronting them towards the very end.
Yeah.
And he pulls the bus over and says, you got to go back. I have to take all these kids back. We're all going to go to jail. And then he's yelling at Pryor. He's like, you get your ass in here. You're coming back to New York with me. And he stops and he gets back on the bus and he closes the door and they drive off. So it's like, oh, he's reformed right there. He's shown that, no, I'd rather go to jail for 10 to 20 years because for these kids because I believe in this.
Yeah, exactly. It's a redemption arc.
Yeah. Like how much more reformed do you want him to get, you know?
Right. It's just so real when it's dealing with a type of comedy that isn't, where it's like they're literally doing Bugs Bunny shit where they pretend to be mannequins for the bad guys to go by. And
it works.
Yeah, it's like we're not used to this tone as much anymore, so it's off-putting.
Yeah, there was a time, I can't remember if this was on a podcast or if it was just on a movie night or something where we were talking about this, but there was a time in the 80s and into the early 90s where a lot of comedies also had to have like weird action thriller plots.
Yeah.
Like Turner and Hooch and shit.
I mean, Stripes is one of those movies.
Inner Space. There's comedies had to have like murder and industrial espionage in them.
Right.
Sorry.
Stripes is like, it's literally the same format as Full Metal Jacket.
It is.
Where the halfway point they go to the war and you're like, oh right, there's an entire other movie where they go around in this fucking Winnebago doing war.
Yep.
And it's so weird. Like, again, it's off-putting.
It is the weirdest movie.
Stripes is extremely weird as a movie. I love it. But it has very similar DNA of this one. It's a very similar era. It's like these comedians sort of, where this one feels like it also kind of starts meandering. And I didn't hate that, but it's like a series of sketches, right?
It's a road trip movie.
Yeah, it starts as like, all right, he gets in the bus, with these kids. We get a bit of him meeting all the kids. He threatens them with a knife. Like, it's like, I hate these kids. And then it becomes like...
He pulls out the fucking knife.
Yeah.
Like, she's just so Mrs. Pryor. No, not Pryor. What was her name? Mrs. Crap, it was a P name. Perry.
Yeah.
Cecily Tyson's
Perry.
Character. She was... She totally is fine with, except like she asks her boyfriend Donald, the parole officer, to find her a driver. He brings her Richard Pryor. He reveals that he's just a con that he's strong arming into doing this, and she's just totally fine. Doesn't even check him when he gets on the bus with these children, and he has a fucking knife.
Yeah, I liked her character because she actually reminded me of like an old-timey type of character where she's just this like, she's like this weird, she radiates like a little bit of naivete, but it comes in goodness. It's weird to put like nun energy where it's like, come now, like grabbing you by your ear. And it's like this idea of like, I know you're a scumbag, but my goodness overwhelms you.
Yeah.
Like this appeal.
School marm is kind of what basically what she's like.
And that's once they start getting more silly later, it's like, oh, she's laughing now, it's that. It has that real, like, stern, like you said, school marm, where it's like, oh, we're starting to break through her protective layer as we go too. And it works. I think it works fine.
Yeah.
The dynamic between them. But
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, just the first half pacing, it becomes a lot of like a bus driving montage, scene at the hotel. That's like a bit. Bus driving montage, scene at the hotel. That's a bit. And it like the flow is very odd because it's a series of like sketches basically between montages.
And
Sorry, what were you going to say?
They get to the farm where they're going to take the kids at the halfway point. I was
Yes.
like, oh shit, there's still like 30 minutes left.
Right. And a
what
new movie happens. But yeah, go on.
Yeah. What I was going to say is this movie feels very much like a movie made by a comedian or by a talent at the height of their powers.
Yeah.
Because it's sort of just a kind of a rambling story. It's like, well, we should have a scene where this happens. And like the road trip format is good for that because you can just pitch like a series of sketches. Like, I think it would be funny if we did this. But also we should have a moment where like, we connect with the kid and we do this. And then we should have a moment where we connect with this kid and do this. And then we should have a moment where he uses his grift knowledge to help the kids. And it's like, and then we should have a moment where the angelic, magical rich mayor saves the day at the end. There's just a lot of like, and then this should go in there.
Then it all kind of wraps up.
Yeah.
And you're like,
it
sure.
All wraps up real neatly.
It's the double C's. It's cocaine and comedians.
Yes.
It's the point where it was like sketch brain was where it's like comedy movies and like honestly it's comparable to like Judd Apatow era, right?
Very much so,
where it's like, oh, it's a series of improv bits and like the actual plot is loosely woven throughout. And like I would say to his credit, Judd Apatow spent more time thinking about story structure and what a story should be, where it's like his films do tend to progress. The characters tend to progress. He like worked in this idea of like, how do I build in these improv scenes with a story that is progressing, where it's like, and now here's the turn, now here's the third act moment. This is more when like movies were less refined and it was like, yeah, like you're saying, like, oh, here's a funny idea, here's a funny idea, here's a funny idea, here's a funny idea. And it has SNL brain where it feels like the sketches just kind of end. Where it's like they don't know how to put a button on it, how to escalate it.
The fucking strip poker scene.
Oh my God. He's left to watch the kids and he's like, let's play strip poker. And it was like, that's like the last thing you want to do with children.
That it should not be on the list. You don't suggest this activity with children.
And I get the joke. They should have done it. So the joke is, of course, then she finds him and he's in his pajamas because this is a time where everybody wore weird layers.
Yeah, he's in full-on long johns.
Yeah. Which, I mean, if you live where it's cold, long johns are fucking necessary.
Yeah, that'd be boss. I'd sleep in them all the time if I had.
But the point being that, like, you can rewrite that to have him go, let's play poker. They go, we don't have money. And he could say, well, what do you got? And then the joke is, of course, they took all his stuff. Like, they have his cigarettes and his knife. Like, that's the joke, right? That's what they're trying to do. Just don't make it strip poker.
Yeah, that's like, so weird.
Yeah.
Especially when you have a character who is specifically a sexual assault victim.
Right.
She's not in that scene, but
this movie isn't necessarily like around racial themes, but it does have the KKK in it, and that's another weird moment.
They show up out of nowhere.
And they're very helpful. It's really weird.
It's weird. That scene has the sharpest whiplash because it goes from tense, real life fucking terror to a broad gag within the same line.
Yeah.
Because it's the blind kid says, "Is that you, Joe?" and pulls off the guy's hood.
Right.
And we understand what that implication is. Yeah.
And then all the kids pretend to be blind.
And then it's just immediately Richard Pryor's like, no, he's blind. He's blind. They're all blind.
Yeah.
And then it becomes this wacky scene. But it was like, oh, he said that because they were going to kill everyone otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's this, I think all the way to Tarantino, to Django, there's the general acceptance of the KKK in movies kind of function the same way ogres do in fantasy, which is that they're incredibly dangerous, but also extremely stupid. And so it's always this like, oh, I can outwit the KKK.
Yeah. It's the Bugs Bunny stuff.
Yeah. I loved the shot where he's out in the woods and he's like, it's the what more can happen, and he just sort of merges with their march,
and you see them come, like you see the torch first, like what on earth is?
And then
that's a really funny shot.
Yeah, he just accidentally is mingling with them,
and he
falls
just
into
his
step.
face
drop.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, good, I'm walking with the KKK now.
Yeah, oh boy.
Yeah. I thought that was very funny.
Yeah, it's also very Mel Brooks. You know, Mel Brooks is always like, enough. If I can rip on the Nazis or the KKK, I'm going to. They'll just appear so I can rip on them.
But it was surprising that the KKK, it ends up them being like, well, we'll help get your bus out. And it's like...
They're weirdly... they're weirdly, like, softened. I mean, they're buffoons, and they are made to be buffoons, but they're also, like... they're just... I don't know.
They make the KKK more of like a symbolic group, meaning that it's like they're bogged down with the realities of the world. So it's like, no, we're not violent anymore. We just do this. And which is, I would argue, not a good depiction of the KKK. But that's like the implication seems to be the KKK shows up. And for the record, it's a mixed group of people. I think they're predominantly black characters.
Yes.
And the KKK
black
is
or Latino.
Yeah, they get concerned that they saw their face, and then once they realize they're blind kids, they're like, "Oh, okay, we'll help you out of the mud." And the bit is that they help them out, and then the mud kicks on the KKK, and they all kind of laugh at them as they go. So they're not like, "Look at these great KKK people."
Oh no! They're dumbasses, and they get doused in mud, and then they get like, we should probably shouldn't tell anybody about this.
Right, but it is still like weirdly soft, where it's like they still offer to help them, and it's like, that's weird. Like
it's they're treating it like Bugs Bunny, which was common in comedies of the time. Like they do it in Blues Brothers, they do it in I just mentioned Mel Brooks, Blazing Saddles.
Right.
But it's
weirdly soft in the sense that like
that part of it is, but like I said, like the beginning part, like when the kid pulls off of his hood, it's fucking real in that moment.
Yes.
Like Richard Pryor's acting and the threat and the stakes in that moment are fucking real.
Right.
So they are addressing it, but they are acknowledging it, but very, very subtly.
Yes. It's a very, again, it feels like Sketch Brain, where it's like, wouldn't it be funny if we ran into the KKK? And it's like, oh, would they become like villains throughout? It's like, no, it's just the one scene.
No, just one scene, so we can dunk.
And it's like, okay, how do we wrap this up? I don't know. Wouldn't it be funny if the KKK helped them get out? And it's like in the scene, it's like a lot of, it's whiplash, like you said, where it's like a lot of like, and then this, and then this, and then this, and then we're out. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, my head nearly flew off my shoulders in that scene with the whiplash.
Yeah, same with the mayor neighbor, where I thought like, oh, this stuffy like mayor, it's going to be like a class issue where
Rolls
it's like
Royce and doesn't give her the money. But
instead he's just like, oh, I'm into it and I'll give you money, which isn't like where it's like, oh, good for him. But it's like you expect the villain, the main third act villain is a group of pyramid scheme dudes who show up out of nowhere. Yeah.
I know. They come out of nowhere. It is so funny. He's about to throw a brick through the mayor's bank. He owns the bank that is on the street that is also named after him, and he lives in a gigantic house that happens to be next door to Cecily Tyson's farm. Anyway.
They create a new conflict. They get to the farm and she's like, oh, by the way, I can't
need 15
pay for
grand.
this.
Yeah. Never come up before.
She's a maniac. She is
she is out of her goddamn mind.
Yeah, like she's on a rampage.
She
kidnapped children.
8 kidnapped children, some of whom have very extreme needs, care needs.
Yeah.
To her aunt and uncle's house, who apparently don't own the farm that they've lived on for decades and are about to lose it if they don't get, like, the $15,000 comes out of nowhere. Anyway, he's about to throw a brick to this bank, and next to him is this sign that says, "Do you like?" It says like, "Dare to be rich." Are you bold enough to be rich or something? which is message.
The implication,
but also the sign is literally the trapezoid scheme. So he sees it. He's like, I know this grift.
Yes. I like that he shows up to grift the grift.
Yeah.
And he knows that because they're very public and they can't let the grift, they can't say that they're doing a grift. They have to yes and him. Mm-hmm. And so he uses that fact where he's like, oh, I think this grift is great. Hey, let me help you count the money. Like it's that where
Can
it's
I
like,
cash out now too?
Yeah.
So he does it in front of the group of people. And they're like, yeah, can we invest and then also get cashed out?
Yeah. So he basically just turns the grift on the grifters.
Yeah.
Which it also symbolizes because it does come out of nowhere, but the point is, obviously, we start with a character who always just turns to crime, and then at his lowest point in the story, to do the right thing in his mind, he's going to go back to that again. And of course, the reveal is that Vivian is like, I wouldn't trade your life for this money. Like, you don't have to do this. And
worth
he's
more than $15,000. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, no one's ever told me that. And it's about that idea of like, no, you matter. You don't, even for a quote unquote right reason, the point is to not throw your life away. And that's his arc. But again, the characters come out of nowhere because it's here's another entirely new bit where
they chase him into a fun house.
It is. I wrote down. I was like, okay, there's hubcaps on the wall. There's like
it's like a Scooby Doo chase.
Yeah, I think the point is it's supposed to be like a department store, like a hick department
It's a parade
store.
float, like storage thing or something. It says something to that effect.
It has prices though. There's prices. It's
for all your
confusing.
parade float needs. They got to buy that stuff somewhere.
Yeah, I guess.
Can't all be custom.
Yeah, it gets real fucking zany in this prop warehouse. There's a popcorn machine.
Yeah, the lead grifter cuts Richard Pryor off and says, I must warn you, I am skilled in kung fu.
Right.
And then attacks Cecily Tyson with a plunger, and she just stops the movie and is like, are you really about to hit me with a plunger? And just starts beating the shit out of him.
Yeah. Oh, it's kind of delightful.
It's wacky. Remember he slaps the hell out of the kid?
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
Richard Pryor slaps one of the orphans to the ground? He
slaps him so hard he falls. Yeah, that's the third act when they're like, he's like, we're not going back.
Well, he hears them arguing that they're going to lose the farm because they don't have the $15K. And so this kid comes running back.
Oh, yeah.
And he tells all the other kids that they're going to have to go back to Philadelphia. And Richard Pryor gets over there. He's like, hey, he basically tells them all to shut up.
It's the most confusing motivational speech because he's talking about how great they are. He's like, we're not trash. Slap.
Right, because he comes in there and tells them to shut up. And the kid says, take a hike. Because he's tired of adults making promises to him that fall apart. So in response, Richard Pryor open hand slaps that child to the earth like a grizzly bear in Tekken.
Yeah. Yes. It is brutal.
Mm-hmm. It's upsetting.
Yes.
And then he yanks the kid back to his feet to deliver a motivating speech about how they're not losers.
It's confusing because I think of like, okay, it's 81. People were slapping kids to the ground.
Tough love, yeah.
Maybe it's that feeling of like, at the time, it's the equivalent of these days, someone saying something mean to the kid where you're like, oh, shouldn't have said that. That's too far. They wanted a too far moment, and slapping is too far.
That's too far.
Yeah. Fucking just wailing that kid to the ground.
It was weird because in the scene, he's like, that woman has done a lot. That woman has risked everything for you. And we tried really, we did everything we could, so we're not losers. So like him pointing out how much Cecily Tyson has done for them is something nobody's mentioned up until that point. So like if they had the kid say something, like, fuck that old bitch for like dragging us out here or something.
Yeah, if they
then
said
it might
really
make a
fucked up.
little more sense.
Yeah.
That he lost control and slapped the kid, and then it would make it one of those moments where it's like, oh, what a gut-wrenching moment. Like, it's like a terrible,
like,
makes...
He instinctively did it without thinking.
Right.
But you're right. The kid doesn't say anything to deserve it.
No, especially not take a hike.
It feels like... Again, it feels like it might have been lightly improv at times. It's weird because, like, the broad strokes are solid. The character arcs are solid, I would argue. The premise, like, oh, this guy in parole gets on the school bus, can't handle the kids, starts fighting for them, turns to crime for them, and then has to be told, like, no, you're worth more than that. And then this exploration of, like, he's reformed this way. And, like... Yeah, just go live on this farm. It doesn't seem like it's going to work out in the long run. No. Their whole plan.
It's about as magical as you can get.
Yeah,
You're going to live on a farm.
It's a group of people dropped by the system finding each other. And the arc, the points in the moment where it's like, okay, Richard Pryor is now at this point. He's now at this point. He's now at this point. All add up. Where it's like the slow.
Yeah, they truly do.
Yeah, they do. Where it's like. When he deals with the kid who starts fires, he's like relatively annoyed. That's like the first time. When he deals with the girl who used to be a sex slave, he's like, it's like tragic. It's more like it's that I just drive the bus. That escalation is really good because it becomes an emotional plea over time, is like you said, instead of a comedic thing.
Right, yeah. When he deals with the kid that starts fires, initially it's treated like in the hotel room. He's like, "What the hell are you doing, man? This kid's gonna burn the house down. What the hell are you guys doing?"
Yeah.
And then the second time when he's starting the fire in the field, they treat it as like this is kind of the first part where the movie gets like seriously real. And that's. When he shoves the kid out of the way and the kid starts really, really freaking out, and he's like, she's on fire because he burned his house down and killed his parents.
Yeah.
And Richard Pryor has no fucking clue what's happening. Like Cecily Tyson runs in and is trying just to comfort the kid, is like saying, no, she's not on fire anymore. She's not, and then the owner of the field comes out and he's got a gun. He's like, what the fuck is going on out here? And they're like, it's just, child's a little disturbed. He's having a moment. It's okay. And then you have Richard Pryor, like, he's putting the fire out. He's just trying to fumble through this situation.
He puts his hat on that's on fire.
And it's on fire, yeah. But the scene ends with him, like, he's, like, angry but upset. And
he just like hands the guy money. He's like,
just $20. That should
give me a break. Yeah.
Here's $20. It's like $1 a hay. Give me a break, man. And then he finally makes his plea to her, and that's what he's like. I'm not a social worker. I don't like. He ends the scene in tears. Like he starts to break because he's like, I don't understand what I just saw. Like he says, I don't. He keeps saying, I don't know what's going on. And that's
right,
what he
because
means.
it's also about empathy, where it's this idea of like he starts realizing. What he starts relating to the kids and realizing these kids never had a chance, etc.
Yeah.
They've done things that are perceived as bad, but it's, they're not bad people. And he probably sees himself in the kids that character work is so good. It's just that it's all housed in a series of bizarrely unrelated bits.
Yeah.
And
it's so weird to take. I mean, they don't do as good a job with it, obviously, with the Annie, the sexually traumatized one. But like, the kid who starts fires was like that's such just a joke. Like the the pyromaniac, and you have
I start fires.
Yeah,
it's the Simpsons line. Yeah,
and it's in plenty of movies. But for them to really seriously address the pathology behind it, and to have like Richard Pryor be like humbled and also scared a little by seeing that, because he's like, holy fucking shit, like I had no idea that this is what some of these kids are dealing with. I don't even understand what this is. Like, that's how major what some of these kids are dealing with is. It's so unexpected for a Richard Pryor movie called Bustin' Loose that starts out like the Bad News Bears. Where you think he's just going to curse at these kids for the whole movie.
it's like we hadn't refined comedy in a certain way. Like, you know how you go back and you look at like Chaplin films and he wants to talk about fascism, but he's also going to do zany shit.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, I'm not saying satire didn't exist, but these like, it was like comedians who do a certain thing being like, this is what I do. And it was like, it almost feels like it wasn't as acceptable for like a comedian to be like, no, I'm going to do like a more serious role or like a more nuanced story where it's like, no, they expect us to do this type of comedy. So we're going to do this type of comedy, even when we're trying to tell a story that's like kind of real. I don't know if that's entirely true because I'm just going by memory. Because then I think about things like Razor's Edge with Bill Murray, where he actually is kind of funny in that, but it's mostly serious, where it's like, you know, we of course had these nuances. We had,
and we're also remembering the movies that have stuck around. Like there's plenty of crap that got made 40 years ago that just fucking dwindled into obscurity that real people made.
But you know what I mean? Where it's like when a movie wanted to be real, the comedy had to be less zany. Tends to be the rule, even the rule now.
Well, right, because you can't if you're trying to deal with like a real world theme or topic or storyline, you can't then just throw broad comedy into it.
Right, but we have started to play with that idea with stuff like Everything Everywhere All at Once. Like we're starting to realize like you can create a tonal whiplash if you do it.
Simple Favor does that too.
Yeah, if you do it right, you can do these things. I think James Gunn is exploring that as well.
I agree, but James Gunn, I think it's his stuff is so genre that he makes the world itself into. He's just good at taking the tone and making that the tone of the entire world itself, rather than like putting in stuff that feels like a whiplash.
I would say Dan Harmon and Community and Rick and Morty tried to explore that. I think there was an era.
Yes, Rick and Morty is a great example. That's true.
I think Scrubs I haven't watched Scrubs in a while, was probably attempting that. There is like...
and it's Zach Braff navel gazing sort of way. It's very Garden State.
Yeah. So like it exists, but it's always very hit or miss. And this movie is weird because I would argue that the comedy is the broad ideas for the scenes are miss, but the performances are all amazing. And Richard Pryor specifically is incredible in this.
Oh, he's so fucking funny. Like he doesn't.
Yeah.
Like the scene where they're trying to get the bus unstuck, and he just gets doused in mud, and there's no joke. Like there's no joke beyond that. He just walks back up to the front of the bus, and he has a kind of a brief conversation with Cecily Tyson. She keeps. I mean, there is a joke where she keeps handing him more and more wipes, and he's like, "Oh, more, thank you."
Yeah.
But like he's doing it's like all of the comedy comes from him keeping his anger bottled, but he's not. Right. He's doing it in a very subtle way. It's just it's shit like that where it's like he's just so fucking good that like there's not a joke really that's written beyond he's doused in mud and he's mad. And there's a million different ways you can see that. Like you can picture somebody holding onto their anger, but the way he does it is just so. It's just very funny.
Yeah, and it shows you why a lot of misses exist. Where it's like I can see a movie where it's like you're watching and you're going like, so the joke is just that he's doused in mud, and the guy doing it is like not really doing anything with it. You know, like I think this happens when they accidentally cast like a non-comedic actor in a role like this. Yeah, exactly. Where you're just like, oh, this is falling real flat. And so like, and you almost can't see the joke. And it's like, no, you take the same scene, give it to Richard Pryor, and you're like, oh, I see the joke now because it's all him.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
No, I really enjoyed this movie. It's just a weird fucking movie.
It's a weird one. Man, it's so interesting watching the clear splits in eras of filmmaking.
Yes.
In across different genres, and it's funny to see it now in like the 90s and aughts, and even into the teens now, as you and I become even more olds.
Some of it is just punctuations, like
speed.
I always think of a moment in Clue where he's in the dark and he thinks he found the door and he turns on the shower and it sprays on him, and then the scene just fades out, and it's like, like we would just have a slightly punchier out for that.
I think it just cuts. It doesn't fade, does it?
I think that one fades. I'm not.
It's one of my favorite jokes, actually.
It's a good joke, but again, it's like of its time. In this one, there's like, especially at the beginning, when they're like they're waiting to do the robbery, and they like put the sign on, and then it does this spin wipe, and you're like, and then they're backing in, and it's like it did several spin wipes to transition any span of time.
Yeah, time lapse.
But it was like 12 hours or 30 seconds. We're gonna do
Doesn't
it.
matter.
Yeah,
That
and
used to be the
little things
shorthand.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. We don't do stuff like that anymore. But yeah,
I don't know. It's just interesting because again, the pacing. Sometimes it's
the pacing is the
some of
main
it
thing I noticed. Yeah.
where we don't like. There's less editing during this era, which is usually good, but
Yes.
it makes it so that like some of the jokes are a little less punchy. Everything's a little more human, I would argue.
It's just paced differently, especially.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's also not. This is not even necessarily an era thing, although it is true for movies of the 70s and 80s. They are paced more slowly, but shit, I lost my train of thought there.
Well, no, I compare it to horror. Because I'd say like it's similar vibes where I prefer this era because this era
Let
horror
it breathe
I think
more.
Yeah, and it also doesn't. I think jump scares, there's some great ones, but a lot of them are like cues for the audience of like, you be scared now. And I think comedy has that too with the editing where they're like, this is funny, laugh now. Like, and this is more of like, live in the moment and laugh when you find it funny. And same with older horror where it's like, this is conceptually creepy. We don't need you to literally jump in your seat all the time, necessarily.
Yeah, that's just the shift where you're focusing, right? Where you think like, where is the comedy coming from the joke, or is the comedy coming from the performance?
Yeah.
And then is the horror from I think it's a misunderstanding of the material is
Right.
is the cause of both things for sure.
And is it I need to burst into laughter now comedy, or this simmer of like, this is very funny, what's happening right now? And I think it's just...
Yeah, how important are laugh out loud jokes? That's an
Right.
interesting question. Because this movie does not have very many.
Yeah, I'd rather smile throughout a movie. Honestly.
But no,
I'd
I know
rather
what
be
you
sitting there
mean.
grinning, yeah.
Like to me, obviously, to me, the biggest success is when you're laughing out loud throughout. Like a movie like Pop Star.
Right. I think that's like that this era stuff like Naked Gun, Spoof, where they're just like
They're so joke dense.
joke. And they're zany and they're just punchlines,
It's just gags,
punchlines.
But then this is more,
It's got more charm, I would argue.
this
It's
is more like
charm based.
The Exorcist to
Yes.
to The Conjuring, as it were.
Right, where there are laugh out loud moments, but it's also just about likability, where it's like liking these people and liking their journey and kind of having fun with it.
Yeah, and letting Pryor get comedy from his performance rather than let's really, really try to focus on writing a really good zinger here. It's like, well, no, just have it be a funny situation, and like every line doesn't need to be a slam dunk punchline necessarily. If you have a strong enough performer to give the material to, right? Like that's what you were talking about earlier. Is you doing that now? People often run the risk of leaning on the wrong performer.
Yes.
Like, oh, they'll pick this up with their incredible comedy chops that I'm trying to think of an example.
I
said
mean,
David
there's
Duchovny
plenty.
earlier, but like I'm trying to think of a better example of. I just lean on that, or like somebody like Ken Jeong.
Right.
Like I think Ken Jeong is funny, but I think his brand. I think he's funny because he's just down. He's totally game.
Yes.
I think like being like if you write Ken Vamps on a page, you're not going to get nearly as good stuff, in my opinion, as like Pryor Vamps, if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense. I think there's also this
Bad example because I
less-
do think Jong's better at improv. But anyway, sorry, you guys get what I'm saying.
Yeah, there's also less emphasis on zaniness, I would argue, which I'm not saying there weren't zany characters, but like, for example, Egon. Egon still feels weirdly grounded. He is still a wacky character, but then like we sort of evolved that once we went through like people like Kramer, and it keeps going where you're like, this is a person that couldn't exist, as opposed to this is an eccentric character. It feels like it's just that it got more pronounced. Like we've always had zany characters,
Of course,
and then
yeah.
of course you have like Monty Python, where it's like that's all zany characters. It's
Yeah,
all
yeah.
people who couldn't exist. It just, I don't know. It's interesting how this era deals with the concept of an unreal, like zany character. It's like they still seem somewhat grounded more.
Yeah.
This doesn't even have that many zany characters, I would say, this movie.
No, I mean the grifters. The whole third
Yeah.
act is wild.
Yeah. Yeah, the third act is out of its mind. I don't have anything else to
Not
say
too
about
much.
this movie.
Yeah, not too much left to say.
No, fascinating movie. I quite liked it.
Yeah, me too. Honestly.
Yeah, it was tough. In the beginning, I was like, oh no. And then as it kept going, I was like, I actually feel good watching this.
Yeah, you guys
Like,
were way more responsible with this topic than I expected.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, it's like kind of a good story.
Yes. It was fun. I genuinely for a second I wasn't sure if he was going to go back at the end, and it's like, of course he's not going to go back. That would be ridiculous.
That would be,
But,
that'd
like-
be terrible. Terrible ending.
Yeah. He has to have the change of heart. Yeah, no, I liked it. Oh, I would say some Zucker misses. We like High School High isn't Zucker, right? It's Zucker adjacent. Those movies
might
have
be.
sometimes where you're like, this actor can't really do this.
You hung it on the wrong guy. Like
Yeah,
casting
where,
like
again-
Dracula Dead and loving it.
Yeah, where it's like we did you chose the wrong people to be the straight man, the wrong people to be the funny person. Like I think you see that often there, where it's like it's still talented people, but you gave them the wrong assignment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anywho, I think we're done here, right?
I think so.
Big thank you to the Wells Fargo wagon is a plunging off a cliff from the Music Man. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. I never
Speaking
would have
of
seen this
grifters.
movie without you. Yeah.
The Music Man.
Yes.
Not this
Yes.
patron of ours.
No, Music Man.
The Music Man.
He's a grifter? I've never seen the Music Man.
It's
Okay.
Lyle Landley. That's who Lyle Landley's supposed to be.
Oh, that
Yeah.
it all
It
comes
all makes
together.
sense.
This was through our Patreon. Patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. For $5 a month, you get access to exclusive podcasts like Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Spiel Boys, Star Trek Next Futurama, Himboos, our brand new supernatural podcast. All for $5 a month. For a little more, you can watch movies with us every Friday night as well.
It's true.
We have fun.
We do. Like this film.
Sometimes.
We bust loose sometimes.
We bust it all the time.
Sometimes we're busting.
Yeah.
Busting. Sometimes we play strip poker inappropriately.
Yes.
We also have a store. Head over to gamefullyunemployed.com. You can find a link to our Teespring store, where we have all kinds of cool original artwork and designs from cool original artists like Michael Vincent Bramley, Starlene Hodge, Justin Brown, and others. So check that out. Please rate, review our podcast wherever you're listening, and check out our new show, Badical, Badical, wherever you're listening. And that's all.
That is all.
That is all.
Yeah.
Just,
You know what?
Light kidnapping if it's for the right reasons, as long as
Yeah.
you're taking them to a farm.
Yeah, that works. That holds up in court. Mm-hmm. Check it out.
As long
it's
as
in the
you move
Constitution.
in next door to a kindly old mayor.
Yeah, who solves all your problems. Mm-hmm. And if he doesn't, you can kidnap you could just keep you keep kidnapping until it works out.
Right. It's
Yeah.
a trapezoid.
Hey, listen, our music is produced by Chris Corlew. You can find him on twitter.com as the Corlew, or go to shipwreckedsailor.bandcamp.com. Our channel artwork is produced by Michael Vincent Bramley. For more of his work, go to mvbramley.art. Our episode artwork is by Justin Brown, available on Twitter as Justin T. Brown or at artnessbyjustinbrown.com. And finally, additional artwork is by Starlene Hodge. You can find her work at starlenearts.com or on Twitter as StarleneX. Cool. Goodbye.